he's like, Olowe, I've just quit my job. And he's like, I think you should too. And I was just like, what? And he was like, yeah. He was like, look, this is what you're achieving right now, part-time. Imagine if you just went and quit and just did it full-time. Funny back then is how I just didn't know what to do with my time. I was like, I've got 40 hours a week. So I got really anxious that I wasn't doing enough. I've been rejected so many times. My emails have been blank before. I've had things that have fallen through. That's something as well that I've learned, that, again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I've hosted workshops for Accenture, Natwest.
Talking about that, you had a 5-figure month last year. Crazy.
I did.
Crazy.
That was wild.
Can you tell the listeners and watchers what did you do to achieve that? Welcome to the Takeoff Experience, where I sit down with highly driven people to talk about their journey, their failures, and their successes. If you want to take off in your career, your business, your finances, or your mindset, then this podcast is for you. Welcome back to the Takeoff Experience. We have a special guest in the building, a repeat guest, 3P actually.
Yes.
Ola, yeah, Ola.
Through all the stages.
Yeah, I know, you actually have, you have. And it's actually been over a year since we did our last episode. I think we did our last episode
November time-ish.
Yeah, December. We were giving tips for spending a budgeting over Christmas.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
That was a good episode. That was a good episode. But today's episode is going to be a little bit different. But yeah, aside from that, how are you doing today?
Good. Like I said to you, I'm so tired.
Mad busy, innit?
Life has been lifing, and it's only the 12th of January. It's January, and I'm just, I'm ready for another trip.
Already?
Okay.
And you only got back to work the beginning of this week, right?
Last week, to be fair. It's been like a solid 8 days of work now. 7 or 8 days of work.
7 or 8 days, and you're ready to just call it quits for the year.
At least have another holiday in between.
Yeah.
What about you? How are you finding it?
All right, actually. I feel like I'm definitely better set up this year than I was last year. I think I'm like all the experience that I've gained last year, I'm implementing it this year. Last year, actually, at this point, the podcast wasn't running. It was on hiatus. I was kind of churning content. Had a plan, not had a plan, kind of thing. So it's like a big change from last year. Like I have plans and goals that I want to achieve this year. So I feel like I'm a bit better prepared, actually. But yeah, life of a business, right? Sometimes you're prepared, sometimes you're not. You're not prepared. So how's your new year been so far? Like, how's it been?
Good. So it's my first year it's my first time entering a new year as a full-time business owner. Okay. So setting goals this year compared to last year is so different. So last year it was probably like more personal goals. Yeah. This year it's definitely more like business-focused goals. I've got better business processes in place now compared to the end of last year. So I feel like now I've got like all my stuff together. Yeah. I'd like to think.
Yeah.
We're only in the second week of January, but so far it's going smooth.
Okay, cool. And we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to talk a lot about your goals, how you set them, like what you've learned in 2022 to be able to, step into 2023 as a full-time business owner. But before that, for those that haven't listened to the episode, the 2 other episodes with us, a shame on you guys. Who is Ola?
So Ola is the founder of All Things Money. So All Things Money is a personal finance platform that is designed to teach young adults to financially navigate adulthood. I'm sure many of those listening, watching, you as well, will agree that we're taught literally nothing about how to manage finances effectively. So All Things Money is essentially that platform that helps you do that. So we're online across all social media platforms. We have a podcast as well. We've got a couple of live events coming this year. And then also I do talks and events for universities, corporate clients, and everyone else in between.
Wow. You got your elevator pitch,
You've got to.
Like that.
All the interviews that are going
100, 100. Elevator pitches, like solid. Like, how many times did you repeat that to yourself in the mirror?
It's because I type it out nearly every day.
Really?
Like a new news article, something happening. I'm just like, Olowe is the founder of All Things Money. And I think now it just rolls off the tongue.
To be fair, when you meet people and they ask you what you do, sometimes you have to just be able to just like give it to them. Yeah. It will just come to you like thick and fast. Yeah. That's mad. So what ends are you repping?
Ends?
Yeah, what ends you repping? What ends you repping, fam?
What does ends mean? Like ends in like
how can you say what ends mean?
No, as in like where I live.
Oh my god. Yeah, where you live.
Of course, I still want to say the wrong answer and embarrass myself. I'm repping East London ends.
Oh my god. I need to compose myself. Okay, cool.
East London.
East London,
Yeah.
East London size. And you mostly grew up in East London, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm an E17 girl.
E17. Where's E17? What's
Walthamstow.
that? Walthamstow. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So you mostly grew up in Walthamstow, and did you school it in the area too?
So was born and raised in Walthamstow,
Yeah.
and then moved area. Went to school in that area, and then went to boarding school for secondary school.
Boarding school for the entirety.
Secondary school, and then I changed for sixth form.
Okay. What was the experience like at boarding school, secondary school?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah,
Why?
I loved it. I don't know. It was just people when I say boarding school, people picture Wild Child. It definitely wasn't like Wild Child.
Yeah.
But it's literally you get to school with your best friends, live with your best friends, and then when I was in school, we'd also used to have like excursions on the weekends.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite fun. Definitely till 16, and then I think after 16, I was kind of had enough, which is why I changed.
Yeah.
But for secondary school, I definitely had the time of my life.
Yeah. You didn't miss home at all?
There was definitely times.
Yeah.
So like year 7 to 9, I would go home every like 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
And then year 10 and 11, I was going home every week. So
okay.
I was home every weekend.
Okay, so you're going home often enough. Wow, that's an interesting experience. I did boarding school like for 1 year in Nigeria.
Really?
Yeah.
In Nigeria?
Yeah.
I applied to one in Nigeria, and I literally begged my mom. I was like, "Don't you ever send me
Why?
there."
Why was she planning to send you there?
She wasn't planning to. She just was just exploring options.
Really?
Yeah.
But why didn't you want to go?
No
Don't
comment.
say anything that's gonna get you cancelled.
No comment. No comment.
Oh my god! You know what? I'll let you get. I can let you get away with that. So actually, you said that you're from Nigeria. Your parents are from Nigeria, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Nigeria?
I have.
When's the
Not
last time?
enough, but last time was when I was like 14.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you definitely need to go again. I'm not even preaching, but yeah, you definitely need to go again.
I do.
All things money Nigeria, is that gonna happen?
100%. We're gonna
Really?
go worldwide, baby.
Yeah. Okay. I'm loving hearing this. So a bit of a background about you. So you studied at university. You went to university as well, right? Business, was it business?
Business management with a year in industry.
Right? Why did you end up studying that? Like, what was the
Good
reason?
question.
Yeah.
So in sixth form, I wasn't planning to go to university. I think in my head, I was like, I've lived away from home for so long that I don't really fancy university, don't really fancy extended learning in that capacity. So I was like, I'm going to do an apprenticeship. So I wanted to do like Deloitte or KPMG. It's wild thinking about that now. But at the time I wanted to do that. But at where I was at sixth form, I didn't feel like I had enough support or guidance to not go down the uni route. So if I said I wasn't going to go to uni, there wasn't really much to help me like apply for those like internships and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to apply to uni just as a backup. And I went and viewed a few universities. Me and mum went to go view the University of Birmingham. Fell in love with it. The minute I stepped foot on that campus, I was like, oh, I'm coming here. Like 100%. And then I went and studied business management. So I think from like 10, 11, I was like, I'm going to be rich when I'm older. I'm going to have a business. Obviously, didn't know what that business was going to be. Definitely wasn't going to be what I'm doing now. But I just knew I was going to be rich somehow. I'm not just rich, just yet, guys. One day, maybe. But yeah, so I think business management kind of followed suit in that kind of like dream.
So that's what it was about. Wow. You said something about that you feel like you did get the support. What support would you have liked, like looking back on it? What support would you have liked to have?
Just careers advice and like what else is there beyond sixth form that isn't uni and isn't the big four, because that's all I kind of pictured was the big four as the other option, and that wasn't what I wanted to do. To be honest, I'm not really I'm not a finance girl. Here we are preaching
What's
about
going on?
finance. But I mean, I'm not like an auditor. I'm not someone that would fancy accounting. And yet I just felt like that's what I could. That was the only thing I kind of saw being advertised to me online. So I feel like better ideas on what you could have done beyond uni outside of that. Yeah,
I agree. I feel like a bit more coaching, a bit more mentorship at a young age to help you. You know, because they're doing all this mentorship at uni level, but actually you kind of need to do a bit earlier so people decide what they want to do.
When you're 18, you think every decision you make at 18 determines your whole life. So my sisters are going through the route, and my sister's going through the route of applying for university now. And you realise 18 is so young.
Yeah, it is.
And you think that university decision literally makes or breaks your whole life. It's so not irrelevant, but let's say you studied geography at university and you realise it wasn't for you. That isn't your life set to just now do geography or do like geology or anything like that. So I think it's really funny looking back now. Like 18 is so young,
Yeah, it
so
is.
young.
It is. It is. Yeah, you do think you think you're an adult, but
You're
you
really
don't really
not.
know much. You don't know much about the world.
No.
You're very inexperienced for sure. So then what happened after uni? Like obviously you had aspirations of like going into the big four. Yeah, what was like what were you doing after that? What did you decide to do?
So university. So I did my placement year. So I did a placement year at Enterprise Rent a Car.
Okay.
That was a very interesting year. We won't delve into that too much.
Mm-hmm.
But post uni, I graduated in a fun time called the pandemic. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember it.
Yes, of course I do. Who can forget that?
So yeah, so I was in my final year, and I remember the day so clearly. I was like revising or doing my dissertation in the university library, and the alarm was like, "You need to evacuate the library." And like my mum was calling me. She's like, "Olo, like the army's coming out next week. You need to come home." I remember that, like all those rumors
Oh yeah, the
going
police.
about, like
Oh yeah, a lot
the
was happening.
army's
Yeah.
trooping the M11.
Yeah,
So if you're
that was
gonna come home, you need to
crazy.
come home. So anyway, came home, and obviously because of the pandemic, all my exams got cancelled. I actually, funnily enough, had a one-way ticket booked to Australia. I was meant to move there, had my flight secured, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, because of COVID, couldn't go. So yeah, I found myself with a lot of spare time on my hands because I only had my dissertation left to write. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to learn how to invest in the stock market. Always known about investing, but never really had the spare cash to do so.
Yeah.
So I was like, whilst I'm at home now, obviously I don't have any rent to pay. So I was just like, I'm going to invest a bit. And then that same week, I got some of my friends investing. And I was like, okay, it
Nice.
shouldn't be like a well-kept secret among
Yeah.
us about how we can invest and provide wealth for our future generations, hopefully. So I was like, I'm going to start an Instagram page and teach people how to manage their money.
Yeah.
So that's what tied my boredom over lockdown.
Wow.
And here we are today.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And when you started that Instagram page, was your intention at that time like, yeah, I want to start a business, or was it just like, I just want to help people?
No, yeah, literally was. I'm just going to help people. And
Yeah.
I was still thinking my flight booked in September was still
Yeah.
going ahead. So I was just like, I'm just going to do this to just cure my boredom. And I'm still going to Australia in September. And yeah, that September flight never happened.
Oh my gosh! So you actually thought you were still going to Australia?
Oh yeah, and then I was like, oh, maybe. And then September didn't happen. And I was like, January is going to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, by then I was like, it's just not going to happen,
Yeah.
Australia. Not in the first year anyway of
Yeah.
the pandemic. So yeah, just continued doing that. Got a job that September after I finished university, and just carried on grinding with all things money
Yeah.
from that.
What was the job again that you
So I used to do events.
Okay,
Like managed a few venues in
Yeah.
East London, and yeah, just grinded doing that. And then yeah, my very first monetization, I guess, of all things money was my first ebook, which I produced just before September.
I remember that ebook. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, okay, so what was the motivation for that, creating that?
I just thought, like, to be fair, I didn't think I'd grow a following from sharing tips, and quickly I realized, oh, I'm actually growing a following. I think
Yeah.
at the time I had like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 followers.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what, because I kept getting asked so many questions on the same thing, and there's only so much an Instagram post can kind of cover. So I was just like, let's make an ebook. Let's see how we can do it. And I can't remember, I think I saw someone else create an ebook, and I was like, if they can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I saw what they used to kind of like sell it, and I was like, okay, let's write an ebook. I will never write another one. I'm not gonna lie.
You don't like writing?
So long,
right?
no. I was so long. It was so long, but it's very rewarding knowing that I have an ebook. I've got 7 products now. So when I say I'm never writing an ebook again, I've got now like 3 or 4. But that was like my first monetization of all things money.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that ebook. So it sounds like when you started, you kind of, obviously, in terms of your why, like you wanted to help people, and it kind of slowly snowballed, and people understand. I know all of the background, so this is going to be a fascinating story for the watchers and listeners, because I know everything right that's happened in the background of how it's grown and the fact that you're doing it full time. So it's a fascinating story, and I think it's I always say to people, right, like with business or anything you want to start, like it's really up to you. You don't have to. It doesn't have to go full time, right? Like nobody's forcing you or pushing you to do it, and obviously there's no guarantee of success. But if you do push things, there is a possibility it can be successful. And I think your story is I mean, we're going to talk about this, but I mean, 2 years ago you didn't have a business, and now 2 years later you have a full-time business and you're so busy. like that. I mean,
Moaning
if I
to you
told you
about my
2 years ago,
business.
if you would have a full-time business and you're making this much and you're doing all, you'd be like, no way. And but
Yeah.
it's, you know,
And like the brands, and I'm sure we'll delve into
yeah,
it, the brands and the clients I've worked with have
yeah,
just been wild just from
yeah.
this small Instagram post and Instagram page. And funnily enough, today I posted on my Instagram story like, guys, I cannot believe, 'cause I had a huge meeting with a huge client. Can't obviously disclose this yet, but and I was just like, I cannot believe I'm working with a client this big
Mm.
from the result of just an Instagram page. Like,
Yeah,
even though it's not just an Instagram page,
yeah,
but a lot of people will be like, it's just an Instagram page. But now the work and opportunities that have opened from
yeah,
there, if you, like you said, if you have like an idea or a dream you want to go get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a grind, and we'll talk about the
Oh,
realities of
100%.
that. Ola and I talk about this all the time. It's a grind. You have to
Yeah.
be consistent. You have to
Yeah.
be
Mm-hmm.
on board. But yeah, going back to your story. So you were in the events industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but you're also doing all things money. Correct me if I'm wrong. You decided to quit last year, right? Was it last year? It
Yeah.
was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Last
yeah,
year,
yeah.
2022. Gosh.
What month last year did you quit?
March.
March last year. Why did you make that decision at that point?
Good question.
Yeah.
So, 2021 October. 2021 October. I'm probably going to get my years wrong, but the year before last year, so yeah, 2021. In October, I went part time because I was just like, oh, like things are really picking up. Like it would be nice to have 2 days a week where I'm actually just devoted to all things money and I can pick up calls. Then, luckily, in my old job, my manager was really flexible, so I'd be able to have like a meeting in the morning just before work and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it got to a point where I was like, I can't keep doing that.
Mm.
So I went part time, and then fast forward to March last year. Well, my goal for 2022 was by December, I'd like to, it wasn't a guarantee. I was like, I'd like to maybe quit my job and run all things money all full time. And that was like an aspirational goal. So anyway, in March, I'm chatting to one of my friends that made from LinkedIn. And again, we'll talk about LinkedIn. And we just had this call, and he's like, Olo, I've just quit my job. And he's like, I think you should too. And I was just like, what? And he was like, yeah. He was like, look, this is what you're achieving right now, part time. Imagine if you just went and quit and just did it full time. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that call was on the Friday. Spoke to my mum, spoke to my managers because they're like my best friends, my old managers, and yeah, they were all like, you need to do it, to be honest. And mum was like, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work out, you get another job. And I was like, oh my god, that's so true. You forget that's an option when you're in the thick of it. You forget you can just get another job if you wanted one. So anyway, so that was on the Friday. Handed my resignation on the Monday.
Wow. How were you feeling when you with that decision?
I was very, very scared. And all of my friends were very supportive. They're like, Ollie, you need to do it. And my managers were the same. There was no malice at all. They were all so supportive, which I think helped with my decision. I think it would have been different if I was in a toxic workplace where they're like, I can't believe you're leaving us and all this stuff. So yeah, I handed my resignation, and I still had like a month to work my notice. So I still had like a month before I left. So I left in April last year.
Wow. It's very brave of you, and it's panned out. Definitely it's panned out.
But then disclaimer, I do still live at home.
Yeah.
I do think that makes a huge difference.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad that you said that, you made that clear, because that's the reality of it, right? Like, you have a bit of a buffer.
100%.
In a way, right? And that's been helpful. I was gonna ask you, like, how did you know you were ready to quit? Like, you were ready, because a lot of people want to, but like being ready and wanting is different.
When you're ready, to be honest. Like, I didn't plan that call. Like, me and my friend were just talking about how we just quit, and like we were just getting to know each other properly because we'd been friends on LinkedIn. And literally, it was just that afternoon, he was just like, just do it. And then, well, I think the support really helped. And then also I had an emergency pot of money as well. So I had like at least 5 months saved up. Should all things money not make a single penny, I knew at least for 5 months I was okay.
5 months expenses, right?
Yeah, 5 months expenses. So I knew I could comfortably live for 5 months if all things money didn't make a single penny for 5 months. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. And now, obviously, the business has kind of grown accordingly. So it's wild to see how much it's grown since then and who I've worked with since then.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. Wow. That's you know what? I love stuff like this, because I feel like it gives a real insight into the psyche of it. Like, you wasn't actually 100% sure. You didn't know what was gonna happen.
It wasn't a plan to. It was a plan to maybe quit my job in 2022, but not in March.
That
was definitely not the plan.
Exactly. You know what's crazy, right? I think a lot of people get confused. Like, there's two different things here, right? Like, so obviously from your perspective, you believed that it could work out, but that doesn't mean it will work out. You're not delusional. just because you believe it doesn't mean it will,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people don't get that. So, of course, that's why you have the safeguards, right? You have
Yes.
your expenses
Mhm.
there too, because just in case it doesn't work out, yeah, you believe it, but
Yeah.
that belief is you. That you can control what you do.
Yeah.
That you can't control the
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
right? So,
And the grind is hard.
exactly, it's hard.
Atto
Yeah.
knows how much I
Yeah,
moan.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I wanted to know your first month after you quit, because that's always an interesting time. What was it like? How was the business doing at that time?
Oh, I can't remember now, but I just remember the first month I was being so anxious. And it's funny now, well, it's funny back then, is how I just didn't know what to do with my time. I was like, I've got 40 hours a week
Hmm.
to my disposal, like to do stuff. And I was like, I don't know what to do in those 40 hours. So I got really anxious that I wasn't doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
But and I can't remember where I was in terms of like the work I was doing. It was probably more like brand stuff, brand collaborations, and then having that spare time, I then was able to branch out to more universities, see if there's any interest in doing collabs there and things. But yeah, I think at the beginning I was like, I'm not doing enough with my time, and I felt really bad. And sometimes I still have those days where I'm like, I'm not working hard enough. But although I know comfortably that month I've secured enough work to be okay, but sometimes it's like, it was weird to have a Monday knowing that I don't need to do anything sometimes.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I should be doing more.
Why do you feel like the need to fill in the time?
I don't know. I just feel like productivity, like my brain struggles to switch off anyway. And I think sometimes I know other people are like grinding, so I should be grinding as well.
Yeah.
And I think I haven't really taken in the full benefits of being a full-time business owner. Like I said to my mum, like I say to my mum all the time, I'm in a constant rush of being here, there, making sure my day's full and fully booked and ready and things like that. When, you know, there's some business owners that are there like chilling, swimming in the pool at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm not just there yet.
Yeah.
But maybe one day.
Yeah. I think it's such a as the switch off thing is a
It's
tough one.
hard.
It's very hard to
Especially
switch
if your
off.
main business is on social media as well.
Yeah, you almost can't. You have to always create content. You have to always do
Mhm.
this. So the main source of your income, just to break it down, right,
Mhm.
was at the time you're doing brand partnerships,
Yeah.
right? And did that, was it a lot at first? Was it somebody that reached out to you? Did you reach out to them? How did that happen?
Yeah, so it's funny because brand partnerships are an interesting one. So when I first started All Things Money before the ebook, I remember emailing like loads of different brands and
Oh,
like
you did?
like
Oh,
yeah,
really?
like
Okay.
fintech apps and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I had like 3,000-4,000 followers, so it's quite small. But I was like, you know, I'm gonna be ballsy. Got aired by everyone.
Okay, mad.
Aired, but again, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
So you know, tried, and then that's why I monetized by the ebook, and then. But during lockdown, I did online workshops for my followers, which was really good. And then I was like, okay, I think by then my following started to pick up, and that's when I then started getting approached by brands. So I think my first one ever was like January 2021. Because I remember writing it on my milestone list and being like, oh my God, this is my first ever paid post.
Whilst you were saying that, I wanted to pick up on something in terms of like resilience, like the theme there, right? So a lot of people would have sent out that message to several brands and given up and be like, oh, this doesn't work, I'm out. That's just reality for a lot of people, and not just this kind of business, any kind of business. Oh, nobody's coming to my restaurant. Nobody's buying my merch, nobody's doing this, I'm just gonna quit. But you was like, okay, they're not going to pay me, so I'm just going to pivot
I make my
and
own money.
make my own money.
Yeah.
What was like, why did you do that? Why did you not give up? Like, I'm just curious to know, like, what was kind of driving you to be like, no, I'm going to keep at this.
I think with All Things Money, my first, like the main and only reason why I ever started was to genuinely help people. And I knew, you know, that's what I wanted to do. And I think where people are genuinely interested in my content, that's what spurred me on.
Yeah.
And seeing that the content and the feedback that I was getting from the content I was producing, I was like, I'm not going to give up, because if All Things Money stops, I was like, where are my followers going to get their information from? And that's where I think the love and passion has just continued. And I always said, even though there's days when my content does rubbish and it makes me feel like crap, but I always remember my first motto that I ever said when I started was like, if my content just helps one person, then I've done my job. And I think when I started All Things Money, it wasn't to be working with brands, it wasn't to be an influencer anyway. So I just knew, you know, if I can create a book, I'm going to create a book, but I'm not going to give it for free because it took so much time.
Mm.
And again, with the workshops, I genuinely wanted to help people, especially throughout the lockdowns, because there were so many,
Yeah.
that I enjoyed talking to people, hosted them.
Yeah.
And then, because I could monetize that.
Yeah.
Being, again, it's my time, respectfully. So again, that's why I wanted to charge for that. And there was very reasonable prices for those tickets as well.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, no, I love that. And in terms of streams, okay, so if your first stream of income was your book, your ebook, and then started to do brand partnerships.
Online workshops then after.
Did you also have online workshops there?
Workshops
How did those come about? Like,
so again, it was just, we were in lockdown.
Okay.
We had one one in March, didn't we? Then we had one in like October. Then we had one in
yeah,
January.
yeah, it was just like so in and out. Yeah, it was crazy.
So I did one online workshop per month. I prefer looking back on it. I don't know how I did it, but
you were doing one per month.
1 a month, yeah.
Were you reaching out to people?
No, just for my followers.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were doing your own workshop and people were coming to it.
Yeah.
Wait, was that the program one? I think you were doing.
No,
right?
it's just like I just would do like how to budget and save,
oh.
how to invest.
Oh man, you're driven.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And I was still working.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was the ebook. Then it was online workshops.
Yeah.
Then it was the brand partnerships. And then the podcast came about. So the podcast then became another stream of income. And then I think it was like workshops and talks with other companies and universities. I think universities was my first one because I've reached out to so many like university societies, did them all for free just to get some like.
Okay, so you're doing free like university workshops.
For societies.
Okay.
And then that built my confidence up enough to be like, I'm actually going to pitch to like bigger, like the university itself to be like, look, can I host a workshop? And again, that was me reaching out.
And you was reaching out at first, right?
Yeah.
To do what was the when you did that workshop, the big university, that was paid, right?
Yeah.
You got that paid, and what was the feeling like when you were like, okay, I've got my first paid workshop? How did you feel at that time?
Proud of myself because it's so hard. Well, originally it was hard because obviously I was like, I'm being paid to do this, so it better be a good workshop. And then also I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting paid this much to just host a 1 hour workshop.
Yeah. So then what happened after? Because obviously you were doing a lot of uni workshops, and then you pivoted. I don't want to give away too much. I want you to, you pivoted. Now workshops, would you say out of all the streams, obviously we talked about, branded partnerships, your ebook, events, and now you do workshops. Out of all of that, is it fair to say workshops is now the main thing that you do, or the preferred thing you do?
The preferred thing I do, I get paid more than the brand partnerships as well.
Yeah.
But obviously they're more scarce.
Okay.
Compared to the brand partners, because I've done so many brand partnerships now, I think, and I've got a good relationship with a lot of brands I've worked with. Yeah. It's very different now trying to establish the same in the industry that we are, in terms of, you've done one university, so you can't just go back and do another one next week to the same university. You have to kind of like work around the sphere and build relationships again. So it's starting from scratch, but then again, when you build up your client roster and you can then show and talk about who you've worked with and who you've hosted workshops for, then I think that makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
And so, and you recently moved into you recently moved into the corporate workshop.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did the corporate workshop element start coming in? Because that's now the main thing, right? Yeah.
So they approached me.
Okay.
All the ones that I've done corporate wise have approached me, and that's thanks to LinkedIn.
Okay. And we're gonna, you know what? I think that's a good time to jump in on that actually. So LinkedIn is you know what? The funny thing is, a lot of people talk about LinkedIn and networking, but you're actually like proof that it works.
Yes.
Honestly, you're actually proof. Like Ola and I speak about it all the time. Yeah. She's absolute proof that if you actually put yourself out there on LinkedIn, I mean, you've got nothing to lose if you put yourself out there, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I think with LinkedIn, it's hard because you're putting yourself out there. But again, you have to just not care.
Yeah.
As much as I was scared to make my very first post on Instagram, that was the same feeling when I was posting on LinkedIn. But now I'm glad I made that. I posted, and here we are.
Yeah. How comes LinkedIn? I want to know what the secret sauce is. Why do you go to LinkedIn?
Because if you want to, it depends on your business. But I think one, everyone has a personal brand, right?
Mm.
Everyone has a passion. Everyone has their own hobbies. Everyone is their own selves and they're very unique. LinkedIn is the perfect platform for you to sell yourself as yourself,
Yeah, that's true.
and develop yourself as yourself. So again, talk about money. I'm like, would like to be seen as a finance guru on LinkedIn, So if anyone was to say, oh, do you follow Olive from All Things Money on LinkedIn? I'd want them to be like, oh yeah, the finance one. I want to be known and I want that to be my personal brand. I think
Mhm.
LinkedIn is the perfect place to do that and develop it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Tell us about the importance it has had on your business, LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I think especially like now, like hosting. So again, my main passion is talking to
Hmm.
people. So I think corporate clients are a good way of, getting to speak to employees, especially with the current cost of living crisis. So LinkedIn is the perfect place to present yourself as the expert in your field, and with that hopefully you'll attract prospective clients and
Mm.
they'll be intrigued about what you do, because I think what we do is so unique as well. You don't have
Yeah,
10 million people that are personal
that's
finance
true.
educators.
That's very
So I
true.
think that has evoked intrigue, which then has led to them reaching out being like, oh, we've seen what you do online,
Mm.
would there be any interest in working together, or is there any interest for you coming to speak to our employees, for
Mm.
example? So yeah, it's that the people that you want to, if you want to attract a corporate clientele, then LinkedIn is the place for you.
Yeah. How's it helped your business though, specifically, like for you?
So for me, one, building my personal brand, that's
Hmm.
definitely helped in terms of, I've been reached out to for interviews, articles, like journalists on LinkedIn. I've also been what's the word? Been approached for corporate workshops. I've been approached to work with brands as well on LinkedIn. So yeah, LinkedIn, again, all aspects of my
Mm.
business helped me through have been helped through LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It sounds like you've managed to generate a lot of business from that, and the content on LinkedIn is it's got like a high chance of going viral, right? Like the
Yeah.
way it is, like because if you
Hmm.
like a post on there,
Then their
other people
followers
see it,
like it.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah, their
algorithm's
followers, and it
very
just keeps
kind.
on
Yeah.
seeing it. And as you said, right, it's a business platform. The
Yeah.
people that are on there are interested in this kind of stuff, are
Yeah,
interested in
100%.
business, right?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that's what you go on there to consume that kind of stuff. So if you've got some kind of form of business,
yeah.
I feel like if you've got a good network
Hmm.
and you write good content, you know,
Yeah.
how often are you posting on LinkedIn yourself?
Like 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're that active.
Yeah,
It's
you have to
mad.
be. But I mean, again, you don't want to be forgotten about.
Yeah,
So I want to be there front and center every week. So,
really.
but again, there's ways about being clever when you come to content, right? So
Yeah.
I schedule mine. So I schedule my content 2 weeks in advance. So I know it's there and it's ready to be published. Because again, I really cringe at some of the things I post. So I cannot physically think on a Monday morning of a post to then publish. Like it's
Yeah,
just not going to come out of me. So
yeah,
again, I just create got a content schedule,
yeah.
got some content pillars and create posts and get them scheduled.
How do you overcome that that fear of being judged on LinkedIn? Because you
Hmm.
can feel like
Oh
that a
yeah,
little bit
100%. I
on that
think you
on
just
that
need to
platform.
follow people that are doing similar things. So,
Yeah.
I know people on there that just post their achievements at work, which is
Mm,
great. But I've also got friends on there that post every single day, great content, advice.
mm,
They share their story on there. And I think if you follow people that are doing that, it
mm.
makes it so much easier because there's other people doing it. It
Yeah,
doesn't help when the people that you follow are dead silent and don't post at all, because then it's obviously very
yeah,
intimidating. You're thinking they're the only
yeah.
ones that are going to see it.
They're just
So just
watching your
yeah,
every move,
LinkedIn. They're
right?
like, why is she posting Monday about like being brave and being like resilient? You need to have people that are posting similar things to you. So again, it will
Yeah.
resonate to their audience too.
Yeah, I think sometimes you just don't have to care. I can't remember what I was watching, but I was watching something that was really fascinating, and I wish I could remember who it was because I'd like to give credit to them. But it was like talking about like, if you want to pursue something, why would you stop? Like, and especially if it's like visual, like it's in the
Hmm.
public eye, right? Why would you stop pursuing that because you're gonna get critiqued by somebody sitting on their bed somewhere
Yeah,
that you don't even know?
yeah.
Like, is that's why you would stop it, because of
Hmm.
the fear of that,
So
right?
true.
So it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Why would you stop promoting your business because you're scared that somebody is gonna think you're cringe, somebody's gonna critique
Yeah.
you.
And
Somebody's
there'll
going to
always be
think
someone
you're
that's going to
whatever.
think something. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure people see me on Instagram and still cringe at what I do, yet it's a successful business. So I guess, you know, as long as you're doing your thing and you're getting your
Yeah.
bag, then
Yeah. It's very interesting because it's like sometimes, you know, image matters, sometimes it
oh yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
Right? It matters in certain things. If what you're doing is overall good, then you just keep doing what you're doing, right? I
yeah.
suppose,
I think
right?
you just have to have
Yeah.
tunnel vision. I think
Yeah.
it's funny because if you scroll right to the very beginning of when I started, like the videos on there are so embarrassing. Like so much. I'm surprised I haven't even taken them down yet. But again, I leave them there because it just shows me the progress I've made. Like
Yeah.
how shy and timid I look as a person sharing that, like
Mm.
creating those videos compared to now, like
Yeah.
speaking at like at events and speaking on TV. Like it's
Mhm.
just the Olive has completely changed in like nearly 3 years. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's so interesting.
Yeah.
But posting then, I was so scared. Like my friend was like, first day I wanted to post my first post. She was like, "Olive, if you don't post, I'm going to come down to your house and post it for you." It took me 5 hours to post my first Instagram post. I'm
Really?
scared that someone's going to judge me.
Oh my gosh.
5 hours.
That's mad. That's
And
mad.
had the post. I created the page for like a weekend, and it was on
Yeah.
a Sunday. I was like, it took me 5 hours to finally push publish.
It's crazy the psyche that's playing in your head when you're
Mhm.
doing that. I remember my first YouTube video, and it was a 5-minute video. When I think about a 5-minute video, I'm like, that is simple.
Yeah.
But back then, a 5-minute video was like, it was such a big psychologically for me
Yeah.
to get over it. I mean, I remember sweating in the video because I was so nervous.
The
Like,
retakes, even the
yeah,
arguments I'd have with my mum because I'd be in the living room for like
yeah,
2 hours trying to film a 30
yeah.
second video. And she'd be like, "Get out, like, hurry up."
Yeah, it's so crazy, like the amount of pressure you put on yourself.
Mhm.
But like you said, you develop,
Yeah.
you put yourself out there, and you're just
Yeah.
continuously
Yeah.
like developing. So as part of your workshops, you got
Mhm.
some big clients. Is entirely up to you if you want to name them. But you got one of the biggest. They're a makeup brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one of the biggest well-known makeup brand.
Estee Lauder.
Okay, so you're gonna say, you know, you might as well say it.
God,
So you did. So you did a
myself.
workshop for Estee Lauder. Talk us through that.
Yeah, so I hosted 2 workshops for Estee Lauder. Won't go delving into it too much, but yeah, hosted workshops for them. I've hosted workshops for Accenture,
Yeah.
NatWest. I'm trying to think of others. I've spoken for University of Westminster, University of Birmingham, University of Newcastle. So huge
Yeah.
clients I've spoken for.
And we're not going to say the name, we're not allowed to say the name, but we've got a potentially exciting announcement for you coming soon with workshops. But this is just showing the power of how much can change in a year, because you got all these clients last year,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So not to say, because sometimes the grind can be a little bit, because obviously you started in 2020, so the grind, it was slow,
Mhm.
and it could just kind of, and
Yeah,
sometimes that's
absolutely.
just how it is,
Yeah.
right? It just works like that. Sometimes you just stick it in. But you know what I always say to people as well, right? Or I always think, should I say, right? Like, it's like all cumulative, right? You work
Yes.
on stuff. It's never like you don't go from there to there.
No.
It's
no.
like
And-
all the
yeah.
experience, all, you know, your brand is building, everything. People then come onto your page. Oh, okay, you worked with that brand. You've worked with Estee Lauder, right?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, cool. We like you. We're gonna get you. That's how it always
Yeah.
works, right?
And I think it's funny because people won't see the grind behind, and the fact that,
yeah,
you know, some mornings when I was working full time, I'd be doing a meeting at 2 meetings at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then start work at 10. And then I'd do a podcast recording at like 8 o'clock after working 8-9 hours. Like, there's so much grind that goes into it. And I think now, not only because, but now I've worked with the clients I have worked with, people are like, oh, we'd love to work with her as well. But again, people haven't seen how much, you know, I've been rejected so many times. My emails have been blank before. I've had things that have fallen through with brands and stuff. So it's definitely not plain sailing. How many times have I told you that I'm probably going to stop posting on Instagram? Many a times. And the podcast.
Bare time. I'm gonna start the podcast. Do this. I'm gonna create content again. Let me just stop. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Well,
it's a roller
tough.
coaster. Yeah.
It's a roller coaster of emotions. I remember actually. I think I remember very early on when you quit. You were definitely like, "Oh my god, what am I doing? Should I have done this?" kind of thing.
Honestly, because you're just like, what do I do? Like, what is my? And again, I think because our business is so unique, it's hard to seek advice from people you can't just go to someone that's, I don't know, got their own accountancy firm
Yeah.
or like a social media agency, because
Yeah.
their work is so different to my work.
Yeah.
It's like, do I reach out to loads of different brands? But also, you don't want to be working with brands all day, every day on Instagram,
Yeah.
because again, that, it doesn't work like that. How many times, how do you reach out to clients? How many people should be reaching out to?
Yeah.
It's just a lot. I think I probably have overcomplicated it a lot.
Yeah.
Someone probably listening is gonna be like, you're you need to chill. I've got the secret formula.
Yeah.
Secret formula, please tell me.
Yeah, you know what? We'll talk a little bit about that, but I just want, just before we go into that, what tips do you have for somebody wanting to start on LinkedIn in 2023, basically,
Good
and
question.
use it effectively?
Firstly, think about what you want to be known for. So what is going to be your personal brand? So are you like the person known for selling trainers, or are you the person that's known for finance? Are you the person that's maybe got like a newsletter business? There's so many unique businesses that I follow on LinkedIn that I love to see. So what do you want to be known for? Also have like 3 pillars of what you want to post about. So for me, it's like sharing my story, sharing personal finance tips, and sometimes it's just like my thought or views or opinions on the world of personal finance and why it's not taught about in schools. So I think having your content pillars, and then just go out and post. It's very easy to say that now that I post, but go out and post and you'll realize what works, what doesn't work, what engages your audience, what doesn't. And
Yeah.
also network on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is perfect for networking.
Mhm.
As long as you're not that sales person that's like, hi, I want to sell you something. A lot of people are open to networking online.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people are so helpful. People,
Mhm.
and this community that we're talking about, this kind of got created, and you just end up inevitably meeting people, and people will be on a journey with you because you're
Mhm.
doing like-minded things. And a
Yes.
lot of people like to help
Yeah.
people that are doing similar things to them,
More
because
people help others than they don't.
exactly,
Genuinely.
exactly. Like, if you reach out to people, they're definitely going to help. You mentioned that you put processes in place.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about what some of those things are and how they're going to help you in 2023?
Yeah, so my new best friend is Calendly.
Okay.
And
I
it
downloaded
sounds
that app. I don't know
so
if I like it,
stupid, but the amount of time I used to waste speaking to someone and being like, I'm free Monday 9 a.m. or I can't do Monday 9 a.m. or I'm then next free the 19th at 3 p.m. or I can't. I wasted so much time doing that. And again, the reason, because of all things money, I'm very cheap. I'm not going to lie. So Calendly, I was just like, can I really justify paying £14 a month for it?
yeah.
So worth it. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And now it's linked to my iPhone calendar because I live off my iPhone calendar. That's linked. And I just send people links. I'm just like, if you're going to book in a call, here's my link. And it's just different. Change the game completely. That's for people that want to potentially work with me. That's for people looking to come on the podcast as a guest.
Yeah.
So that's definitely helped.
Yeah.
And then I guess another process as well. I used a planner last year, but nowhere near to the effect I should have as I did. So this year now it's genuinely having like to-do lists, but like I think last year I'd created a to-do list with like 20 things on one day, but now I'm like better planning my time and being like, I can split those 20 things across 4 or 5 days and it not be the be all or end all and things like that. So I think that's also really important as well.
Yeah. I've also reduce my to-do list on a day-to-day basis. I think you have to try and make it achievable.
Yeah, otherwise you just finish the day and you're like, I've not done anything. But you have. But I think sometimes you just do
bog
a lot.
yourself down with it.
And then lastly, I now, again, I don't know how I did it for nearly 3 years, but I now schedule my posts on Instagram.
You now schedule them?
Yes.
Can you schedule reels now?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. But I've got a social media manager that helps me now, so they're getting.
Oh yeah. So okay. So yeah, let's talk about this. So you start with a team of 1 in just a year to a team of
so
how
I've got
many?
3 people that work for me now.
Okay, so a team of 4
part-timers. So
part-time, still a team of 4.
Yeah.
Wow. So you went from a team of 1 to a team of 4. That's very important in a year. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Maybe we'll W again to a team of 8 in another year. How crazy is that? Talking about that, you had a 5-figure month last year. Crazy.
I did.
Crazy.
That was wild.
That's crazy. You had a 5-figure month last year. Yeah. Can you tell the listeners and watchers what did you do to achieve that?
So again, I had a huge client reach out to me to work together on a cost of living piece. That was a huge piece. That was probably the biggest partnership I've ever secured,
Yeah.
ever. So that was definitely one of the biggest things. And again, I think they reached out to me. I think they found me on LinkedIn originally because they were like, we love the work you're doing. We'd love to work with you. So that was definitely praise to LinkedIn. And then I think that month I also had like 2 or 3 corporate talks. So that was then. And then I think I also had maybe a podcast sponsorship or a brand deal online, one of the two. But yeah, it was a wild month. I was just like, I need that every month. By the way, guys, I don't get that every month, but I wouldn't mind if I did.
But you're gonna try and get that consistently. I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you have a plan to try and get that consistently?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're aspirational goals, but I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna do it. Okay. Cool. Okay, you said that. We'll chat in a year. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be 6 figures a month. Boy.
Oh, I'll take that.
Never know.
You
never know. Never know. Obviously you've accomplished a lot. Like I feel like your rise in 2022 is been amazing. But what would you say is like been the driving force behind that, like working that hard?
I think now seeing, not like I never reaped the rewards of what I was doing in the first or second year, but seeing how the consistency has genuinely got me to where I'm at today. Like I'm literally like, so one of the clients that I worked with last year was giffgaff, and I remember when we had a call and I was just like, I need to thank 2020 Ola for creating this Instagram page that's led me to now work with giffgaff. Like I used to have my SIM card with giffgaff. Like how are they reaching out to me to work with them? And I think now it's just like consistency has got me this far. So now if I don't remain consistent, then it's just going to drop off. So now I think I'm even more hungrier to be consistent, to shout out more about what I do. So guys, if you've got a business or anything, shout about it. Don't be shy to promote what you do. And you know, if it comes salesy, it comes across salesy. Who cares? You know, everyone's on their grind, everyone's on their journey.
Everyone's on their grind, for real.
Everyone wants that bag and everyone wants success. So I think you just have to be determined to want to achieve it. I think now I've seen what I can get. I'm not going to stop getting it.
Love that.
Hopefully.
Love that. But of course, wasn't without its challenges, 2022.
Oh God, there was many. And I moaned, like we've said, I moan to you all the time. There's never a day where I don't moan. So, but this year I'm trying to practice more gratitude and be grateful. Like this morning, like I was so tired before I went to the gym, but I was like, I'm grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes you just need to appreciate the things that you get in life that not everyone gets. So I think sometimes practicing that's really important.
100%. I completely agree with you. I think, you know, like you said, I think with business, we're always very forward thinking. We're always thinking, okay, what next? But like you said, we also should practice gratitude and just be happy. Like, look, we've achieved so much. We're achieving this. We're doing this full time. Not a lot of people can say that in a pandemic.
Yeah,
you know
all
what I
the
mean?
brands we've worked.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I'm very fortunate, and I think it is down to hard work as well as luck. I wouldn't call it luck. It is hard work.
Yeah, it's defo hard work. So on that topic, what would you say were some of your biggest challenges in 2022 with all things money?
Biggest challenges, time. I think I didn't value my time enough. I think one, in the aspect that I gave my time up a lot last year. So meeting with calls with maybe unserious candidates, that was a lot that I gave up. Also maybe not putting value on my time as well. So in terms of like charging what I'm worth. That's the word. Yeah. Being charged what I'm worth. I think I didn't do that enough. I've shared many stories with you where maybe even spoken at a place, I've charged X amount, someone's charged double, and we're speaking at the same place. Like, it is wild. So I think that was a really big learning curve. I definitely think 2022 was a year of learning. This is the year of implementing. So that was huge challenges. And also like being scared to say no. I didn't say no enough. I think I took on way too much where I could have just politely said, look, thank you, but no thank you, not at this moment in time. And I think it's funny because last year summertime, I think I invited someone to be on my podcast and they politely declined. And at the time I was like, you'd think I'd be really upset, but I was like, oh my gosh, I respect your reply so much that you said no. I was like, I've never said no to someone before. Like, I'm always like a yes girl, and I think it's really, really important to sometimes be known, be selfish. I'm not selfish enough when it comes to running the business, I don't think.
Yeah. I think prioritizing your time, because your time is important,
Yeah.
right? In what you do, right? Like it's your time is either trying to chase opportunities, delivering workshops, delivering content.
Yeah.
Like you have to try and be as efficient as you can with your time. No, I definitely hear that. What would you do differently, do you think, in 2022? Because now you've got like that added layer of experience. What would you do? Sorry, what would you do differently if you were to go back?
Grow a
2022.
bigger pair of balls. Like the amount of times people would be like, Ola charged X amount, and I'd be too scared to. But then when I would propose the lower amount, which I thought in my head was still plenty, they wouldn't bat an eyelid. And I'm just like, I definitely could have asked for more. Why didn't I ask for more? So I think that's definitely the biggest, I say learning curve. I still struggle today when I was sending a quote out today. But it's definitely getting there. I'm getting there. I think I'm getting more confident in terms of asking what I want and what I deserve. Because I know some people are making like 5 figures just from one talk, which is wild.
Why do you feel like you have that belief, even though you believe your company's gonna do well? Why do you have the belief that, like, the money you want? Why are you like, I'm scared to ask for that? Why do you think?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my male counterparts that I speak to when they give me advice about rates, they're like, up it.
Okay.
And I'm not. And I hate to fall to that stereotype. Maybe I'm a bit too timid enough to ask. I think, and I say, like, I don't know if I want to be part of an agency, but I think if I had someone to represent me and they do the asking for me, then I'd be like, ask for this amount. But I think 'cause it's coming from me. Also, I think there's no industry standard with anything we do.
Yeah.
So that's when it comes to brand partnerships. That's when you're setting rates for like your workshops, live events. If you're setting a rate for like a all day talk, there's no guideline on the internet that goes charge X amount for, let's say 50 people. You're speaking for half an hour, or if you're speaking to 600 people, you're speaking for 2 hours. There's nowhere that tells you how much you should charge. So you are just going off people's advice and what they've charged in the past. So you just have to believe that you're worth that amount. People believe they're worth tenfolds more than they're actually worth, and they still get it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there are people getting $1 million.
It's wild.
I mean, okay, like for instance, like a celebrity, right? Of course, I know they're celebrities, but they're getting that money, right? They're having those kind of conversations, right?
I know someone that got paid 15 grand for an hour talk. Guys, I don't get that, by the way, but one day.
Oh, yeah. Look, that's crazy. It's funny because I think I released a snippet this week talking about 15 grand for an Instagram post, and now we're talking about 15 grand for a talk. Like, there's so much abundance of money out there. It's crazy. Sometimes it's so mind-boggling that you have to remind yourself when people tell you, like, oh yeah, there is somebody actually out there making that money.
There is people making that money. Like, people making like someone's yearly salary just on Instagram.
Yeah.
I saw the episode, but yeah, it's wild the money that can be made out there. There is money to be made.
It's crazy. And a lot of people come from humble beginnings. It's not like, some have like, maybe like superior skills and stuff like that. But some just worked hard, they were consistent, and they were just fortunate to be in a position, and then they were brave enough to ask for it, and then they got it. I'm sure that they were scared too. But you know what? It is always nerve-wracking having to do that negotiation
100%.
about like, how much should I charge? And me and you have had a lot of conversations about this. And if Ola's timid, I'm even more timid, because she always tells me, Atto, bruv.
It's funny though, because I was saying this to my friend today before I sent the quote I did today.
Yeah.
And I was saying, if you asked me how much I should charge, I would have told you more.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm too scared myself to do it. Because I'm all good for giving advice, but I don't take my own.
Yeah. It's always like that, right? But do you know what I do? There's a rule, right? I now do what would I be happy with? I now done that.
That's what my mistake was last year, because what I was happy with was half what some other people were charging.
Fair enough. Okay, so what would I be happy with? Plus
plus
something. What would I be happy times 2? Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It is wild, because again, I'm very modest with my spending. I don't pay myself much every month.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy maybe like £500 for a talk. Like it, but people pay way more.
Yeah.
Way more.
So, talking about that, how much of your personal money did you actually put into the business?
Good question.
roughly?
So fortunately, All Things Money, where it started off being online, I didn't purchase anything the first year. The first year and a bit, I don't think I paid anything. I think the most I ever paid at the beginning was like a Zoom membership, so I could
Okay.
actually host the online workshops,
Mm.
which was £14 a month. And then I think my biggest investment was this time last year. I bought myself a Mac
Mhm.
because I was like, I want to go into podcasting. I also had my laptop for like since like year 7, so I was like, I need a new laptop. So yeah, I haven't really invested much, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think the most that comes out of my account now is just the monthly subscription. So like Calendly, which is like £14, Zoom £14. I think on average I probably pay like £120 every month on membership.
That's your expenses right now.
Only like subscriptions, and then obviously
Okay.
now I've got a social media manager. I've got
Yeah.
content
Okay, yeah.
writer
So
for
you've been
Twitter,
able to
so
save up enough because
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
definitely.
expenses
But
have been very low.
yeah, very
Right,
low,
yeah,
very low.
yeah.
And obviously I work from
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
I do pay rent to my mother. I don't think
Yeah.
I live rent free, guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely, yeah, it's very low cost business. I'm very fortunate in that
Yeah.
respect.
That's good, and that's a good thing about it, that because it's so low cost, you're able to like save a lot,
Yeah,
and then able to then reinvest it into yourself, the business, like however
yeah,
you
definitely.
want to. And because you're a money person, you're sensible with it as well. You're not
100%.
just
I'm
spending it,
tight
oh,
with
let me
it.
just buy the bar round of
Yeah,
drinks
no,
and go
definitely not.
crazy and travel here and there, business expenses. Like
Yeah,
some
no.
people get crazy when
I know.
they start earning money. In terms of tips, right, for somebody that wanted to get into content creation, workshops and events, because there's so many other industries you can do it. You can do it in
Yes,
dance, you could
lots.
do it in, I don't know,
Fitness.
medicine, health,
Yeah.
fitness. There's so many, you know, sectors that you can. What would be your advice for that person?
Good question. So number one, have a clear idea in mind. I
Mhm.
think you can't just start posting and then one day it's, I don't know, dance, one day it's health, I don't know. Just make sure you know what you're posting
Yeah.
about. 2, I've just gone blank. I literally had it in my head. 2, don't expect to be paid. If you're going to do something, you have to love it enough to want to do it for free. And I think my mum made that very clear. And to be fair, like I said, All Things Money wasn't ever going to be a business as such. So I was happy posting content for free for a number of year, like a year before I got paid to post. So you have to make sure you love it enough that you're consistent enough and you're happy to do it for free. If you don't want to do it for free, don't do it. You don't love it enough. You don't have enough passion to do it. So, and that's me saying it nicely. And then 3, consistency. Consistency is key. Algorithms are not our best friends at the best of times.
Definitely
So you
not.
just have to be consistent regardless of whether it's shown 5 people, whether it's shown 1,000 people, whether it's shown 10,000 people. You still need to show up, because at the end of the day, once you grow a following, they are there for you, and you can't succumb to the fact that you feel rubbish because you didn't get X amount of likes, for example. At the end of the day, you hopefully want to be creating content because you're helping people and you love posting content.
Love those tips. Fantastic. A1. No, amazing tips. Listen to what Ola's saying. That was fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna talk about 2023 and some of your goals, right? Talk to us about some of your goals, 2023 goals.
Okay.
You don't have to tell us all of them, but
Okay, 2023. What did I have down? I'm just trying to think business goals now. So last year we hosted our very first live event, which is crazy because I didn't think I'd sell one
very
ticket.
crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, I had my first live event last year.
Sold out, 2.
Yeah, sold out. So this year my aim is to have 2. So we're in the works of planning our first one at the moment, which is very exciting. I wanted to bring on 2 people to help me run the business. We've done that, so it succeeded in January. Boom. Exciting. I'm not going to say who I want to work for, but I do have like a dream corporate client list I want to host workshops for. I also have a dream brand list. If only today's brand was on that list, I'd have been like, oh my God. But yeah, I mean, that's quite good. So yeah, I've got some dream corporate clients I want to work with. And then also I want to grow our platform to much bigger than what it is that it finished on last year. I think last year, the end of last year, I had a huge focus on the more in-person presence. So I think the Instagram account probably suffered a little bit from that. But I think now we've got a social media manager. I really want to grow the Instagram platform bigger and better. I want to grow the podcast more. Yeah. Somehow we're going to do that.
We got to do
definitely
it.
Just
by
growth,
all means.
I think growth is definitely key, and then also just further developing my personal brand on LinkedIn.
Yeah, awesome, amazing. They sound like fantastic goals. Can you tell us the importance of you setting those goals for you
Mm-hmm.
and your business?
I think it just allows me to know what I need to kind of achieve every month to kind of get to those goals. So the dream corporate list that I have, my aim is to connect with at least someone from that team, maybe every week, every month, for example. The live events, I know my aim is 2. So how am I going to get to? Again, it allows me to work out every month what do I need to achieve those goals. So it just provides more focus into my days in every month, really.
Love that. And the key thing here is that you are actioning your goals. You don't just have goals that you're not actioning.
Yeah, no, you
the
have
employee list, you already ticked it. You know what I mean? You didn't just be like, oh yeah, let me wait till November.
Yeah, you can't wait for people to come to you. And I
just
think
gotta do it.
that's something as well that I've learned, that again, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I remember when
100%.
there was one brand I really wanted on my podcast, and I was so nervous to send the email. I think it took like 2 or 3 hours to send it, and they came back and they were like, "Yeah, we want 2," and I was like, "What?" So you just have to go and get it as well. Like, as much as you want to sit back and wait for things to approach you, you do have to just put yourself out there as well.
Love that. Love this conversation today. It's so inspiring and motivating, because it just shows you that it's possible if you do work hard.
Yeah,
you are consistent, and you enjoy what you do.
you have to enjoy what you do. Otherwise,
not everything, but there has to be some joy somewhere, right?
Yeah,
because there's some things that we don't like do. Let's be real, right?
And when you get to a point, you get to outsource it.
Yeah,
you don't
outsource the
social
stuff
media manager, because
exactly. Yeah, all right. So what's next for you?
That's a good question. I knew that was coming. My next focus really is my next live event, which is happening in March.
Yeah.
So that is my biggest focus for January and first half of February, to just get that all sorted. So we viewed the venue, in the process of securing it. We've got an event sponsor, and then next is just marketing and promoting. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think maybe by then we might be able to put the details in the podcast episode. I think if it's all wrapped up. When again? What month is it?
What, my client that I worked with today?
No, the event.
March 29th.
March 29th. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's definitely put it. You might have the thingy ready for it.
What thing?
The link and everything is all up already.
No, not yet.
No, it might be by the time the episode comes out. I'm saying
end of Feb.
It's fine. I'll just still put it on after. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming kind of around mid to end Feb-ish. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So go give me a follow if you want to find out about the tickets.
Where can people find you?
Good question. So you can find me at allthingsmoney_ across all of our social media platforms. Don't come at me about TikTok, because we're working on that.
No, yeah, we need to get you. We need to get you on there. Don't worry, we're gonna get you on there.
I need TikTok.
Yeah, we're gonna get you on TikTok from the podcast, right? Because
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing. So yeah, we'll get you on there.
Yeah, definitely. And then the podcast, the All Things Money podcast. And then if you fancy one of my books, then allthingsmoney.com for ebooks.
Awesome. Amazing. Do you have any final words for the listeners and watchers?
For 2023, it's the year of doing, right? So if you have a plan, or you have a side hustle, you have a hobby that you want to genuinely take advantage of, then please do it. Like, honestly, the amount of times I've actually praised 2020 Ola for filming those embarrassing videos on the dining room table, it's honestly a joke. So yeah, please don't be scared of what you think other people are going to think of you. I think only now people that follow me on my personal Instagram that have seen the success I get and now like following my page, I'm just like, you knew about my page from day one. But I think people are only now taking me seriously when they see me now on like BBC, or hosting workshops for like the likes of Estee Lauder and things. So yeah, don't just ignore what you think people are going to think of, because genuinely I don't think people care anyway. I think people are too busy living their own lives.
100%. And I I can't really add anything to that message. All I'm gonna say is I like the message. It's a very important message. Listeners, watchers, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Takeoff Experience, and yeah, we'll see you next week.